Well, welcome to the 700 Club. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu apologized for a military strike on a Gaza hospital. 5 journalists died in the incident, as well as rescue workers who were responding to an earlier strike.
The IDF is investigating what the Prime Minister is calling a tragic mishap. Chris Mitchell reports from Jerusalem.
The Prime Minister's office released a statement that said, in part, Israel deeply regrets the tragic mishap that occurred today at the Nasser Hospital in Gaza. Israel values the work of journalists, medical staff, and all civilians. Our war is with Hamas terrorists. Our just goals are defeating Hamas and bringing our hostages home. The IDF said an investigation is underway.
As a professional military committed to international law, we are obligated to investigate our operations thoroughly and professionally. The Chief of the General Staff has instructed that an inquiry be conducted immediately to understand the circumstances of what happened and how it happened.
Defram added that the IDF faces challenges in fighting Hamas.
Reporting from an active war zone carries immense risk, especially in a war with a terrorist organization such as Hamas, who cynically hides behind the civilian population.
I think we do need to place this in a certain context, and that is the role of hospitals as used by the Hamas organization inside the Gaza Strip.
Jonathan Spire from the Middle East Forum told CBN News how he found out the way Hamas uses hospitals.
As a result of some issues I was involved with last year, found myself in the summer of 2024 talking to a person inside one of the hospitals, Shahada Al-Aqsa Hospital in Deir al-Balah. And this person, talking to myself and my colleague in real time on WhatsApp, on our phones, was saying, yeah, I'm in this hospital, we're surrounded by Hamas operatives, there are certain parts of the hospital we're not allowed to go to because they're for the exclusive use of Hamas. That was an actual eyewitness on the ground telling me that. And I think this fits in with that picture that we know that the Hamas organization very cynically is making use of medical facilities.
Spire says the media often misses this important context.
Unfortunately, I think what we've seen is, certainly in regard of a number of very prominent media organizations, is a willingness to take at face value claims and figures and reports coming out of Gaza produced by the Hamas Authority itself or by individuals closely associated with it.
Meanwhile, in the Oval Office, President Trump said he's not happy about the incident, but he hopes the war will be over soon.
I think within the next 2 to 3 weeks, you're going to have pretty good conclusive ending. And it's a hard thing to say because they've been fighting for thousands of years. If you want to know, that's been a hotbed forever. But I think we're doing a very good job. But it does have to end. But people can't forget October 7th.
On the international front, Australia today severed diplomatic ties with Iran and expelled its diplomats. The Prime Minister is accusing Iran of orchestrating extraordinary and dangerous acts of aggression on Australian soil, including arson attacks. Iran's foreign minister dismissed the charges, calling them a smokescreen to compensate for Israel's recent criticism of Australia for its support of a Palestinian state. Chris Mitchell, CBN News, Jerusalem.
Well, what a contrast. Here, Israel is apologizing and saying it was a mistake. It shouldn't have ever happened, and they're going back to review how they're conducting the war. I've yet to hear any apology out of Hamas. I've yet to hear any apology out of Hezbollah or any of the other terror groups that are launching attacks against Israel. The Houthis launching a ballistic missile with a cluster bomb. All of this happening, and you hear no apology. In fact, what you hear is we're going to do this again and again and again until Israel is wiped off the map. That's the struggle we're in, and it shows a pretty bright line between the two combatants. Israel, on one hand, trying to do whatever it can to protect civilians and say, we're trying to feed them, we're dropping leaflets to warn them of our military activity, and Hamas doing whatever they can to kill Israelis with no warning, no trying to protect civilians. In fact, civilians are the target. So let's stay firm. Let's continue to stand with Israel. In other news, a U.S. senator is calling on the IRS to investigate the Council on American Islamic Relations. Gary Lane has that story and more from the CBN newsroom. Gary?
Arkansas Republican Tom Cotton says CARE, which calls itself a civil rights organization, should be stripped of its tax-exempt status. CARE calls his claim baseless. Dale Hurd has that story.
In a letter to IRS Commissioner Billy Long, Senator Tom Cotton maintains that CARE does not deserve a 501c3 tax-exempt status because of what he called long-standing evidence connecting it to terrorism. One of the organization's biggest critics, Muslim terrorism expert Robert Spencer, agrees.
Finally, this is something that should have been done many years ago. This is an organization that very much needs to be exposed, investigated, and shut down.
Founded in 1994 as a Muslim advocacy firm, CARE's alleged ties to terror organizations have been investigated for decades. The U.S. government listed it as an unindicted co-conspirator in the 2008 conviction of the Holy Land Foundation for providing Hamas millions of dollars. In 2004, CARE sued Navy veteran Andrew Whitehead for defamation after he posted online that CARE is a terrorist-supporting front organization. CARE is an organization founded by Hamas supporters which seeks to overthrow the constitutional government of the United States and replace it with an Islamist theocracy. And CARE has proven links to and was founded by Islamic terrorists. Ultimately, CARE settled out of court and the statements were allowed to remain online. Attorney Reed Rubenstein represented Whitehead.
They decided these statements were no longer either false or defamatory.
CARE was founded by Nihad Awad and Omar Ahmed out of the Islamic Association for Palestine, which ultimately was shut down for being a Hamas front.
CARE founder Ahmad was quoted in a 1998 news article as saying that Islam isn't in America to be equal to any other faith, but to become dominant. The Quran should be the highest authority in America. After the October 7th Hamas massacre, this video showed CARE National Executive Director Nihad Awad saying he was happy to see Palestinians breaking the siege and throwing down the shackles of their own land. Awad's comments caused the Biden White House to cut ties with the group.
They have gained so much influence, power, and access in the American government that I think Nihad Awad figured he was untouchable. He could say whatever he wanted. He didn't have to worry about any backlash.
We asked CARE about Awad's statement, and they replied, "We specifically condemned attacks on civilians on October 7th, just as we condemned the ongoing genocide in Gaza." As for Cotton's letter to the IRS, CARE told us, Tom Cotton's demand that the IRS baselessly target one of America's largest Muslim nonprofit organizations for the benefit of the Israeli government is an un-American political stunt that sets a dangerous precedent for nonprofits of all faiths. Spencer believes the last thing CARE wants is for the IRS to look into its funding.
If I think the full story of CARE's funding were told, we would see some surprises in terms of perhaps funding from foreign governments, any number of things.
CARE says only a small and negligible percentage of donations come from foreign sources. Dale Hurd, CBN News.
Turning out west, where record-breaking heat is fueling multiple wildfires, destroying homes and forcing thousands to flee. In Northern California's wine country, a fast-moving wildfire is burning out of control. Firefighters trying desperately to keep the picket fire away from neighborhoods and vineyards. Choppers making daring nighttime assaults on the flames in very rugged terrain. And in Oregon, the flat fire is starting to stabilize after expanding rapidly Monday. At least 4 homes were destroyed, more than 34 square miles scorched. CBN's Operation Blessing is always ready to respond to help the victims of natural disasters. As part of a unique partnership with Regent University, students recently pitched in to help. Charlene Aron has the story.
Very excited. I am very grateful to be here.
Excitement filled the air as students joined forces with Operation Blessing for its 3rd annual service project.
So they have a passion to raise up Christian leaders to change the world, and we have a passion to help provide help and hope to a hurting world and tangible acts of love in times of crisis. And so it's a wonderful opportunity to come together to help people in their time of need.
Some 500 incoming freshmen packed 1,100 hunger relief bags for local residents, while also assembling nearly 3,000 hygiene kits and 2,000 disaster relief kits for Operation Blessing's disaster response team to distribute where hurricanes, tornadoes, and other natural disasters might strike.
We're coming into the height of hurricane season. They're calling for an active season. So to have hundreds of students that can devote some of their time before they kick into the Regent University school year semester is huge. It makes a huge difference. They're going to be packing these hygiene kits, these disaster relief kits, full of cleaning supplies that will go into communities that are impacted by disasters.
I love serving, love helping people. If nobody does it, then it never happens.
Students found the experience to be a great way to kick off their college journey.
We don't just seek to provide physical help, but through that physical help, we can then extend spiritual help and show these people the love of Christ.
I mean, it's not only what God calls us to do, but it's fulfilling, and it just shows you that your purpose is more than just yourself.
All part of the mission at Regent.
Amen. Giving of yourself is actually the best thing you can do, and that emulates the life of Christ, which we're trying to do here as we create Christian leaders to change the world.
Charlene Aaron, CBN News.
Gordon, Christian leaders to change the world. That was the vision your dad had when he founded the university in 1977.
Yeah, that was the purpose. And let's recognize that the Regent keeps growing. That's the largest freshman class in the history of the university. Our goal is to rapidly expand the facilities here on campus. We're putting up, will be groundbreaking in just 2 months, the new athletic center. Then we want to add dining hall, more residential to accommodate even more students. If you want to apply to Regent University, it's one of the top Christian graduate schools and undergraduate. Just go to regent.edu, or you can call that special number, 866-910-7615.